How do we stop referees being abused at grassroots level? So let's go straight into it. Education.
Talking about education, let's start with players per se. I believe players see what is happening on TV, for example, and if they hear, these professionals screaming and swearing at referees and nothing's happening to them, it's automatic they do the same. 9 out of 10 they do the same.
We can look at what happened with Mitrovic,
Exactly.
Fulham versus Manchester United, where he pushed a referee and he got sent off. However, like the whole issue, regarding that situation, is that Luis Boamarte, who was actually part of the coaching staff, had to come onto the pitch to actually control his player, which is kind of totally embarrassing. And Mitrovic is a disgrace for me to the elite game.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, how stupid was that? You can say it's a rush of blood to the head. How stupid was that? So far as I'm concerned, Fulham were actually in the game, playing the better football. And even if the penalty was called and it was 1-1, they were still in the game. And you, Mitrovic, you don't have the luxury of seeing the VAR in terms of what the referee has seen. And the whole world has seen it. It's a clear doxo. It's a clear handball on the line. He moved, he actually leaned into it. So it's a clear handball. The referee got it spot on. Just keep your head and play the game. But screaming and shouting in the referee's face and actually nudging him and scoring up to him, that's just so stupid. And he deserved everything he's got. I think the FA is actually talking about, people are calling for more than the standard eight match ban when you are physical to a referee. And, trying to make it 10. Now, this sort of leads into one of my things about in terms of education. Harsher punishments. This is going to be big news. It is big news already. And this is going to go out there for everybody to see. So if you are a grassroots footballer and you think it's okay to do that, then be prepared to face the consequences.
Harsher punishments on culprits.
Yeah, harsher punishments on culprits. I don't think the punishment is harsh enough. Referees get abused every day. The stats show that the number of available referees keep going down. If you look on social media and some referees groups, people are hanging up the proverbial whistle every single day because they can't deal with the amount of abuse that is being dished out to them just for going out on a Saturday, on a rainy day, and trying to do what they love to do, just officiating the game of football. And sometimes when these happen, I don't think the players are punished enough. Sometimes it's just like a one match ban, a £40 fine. How about if you are caught being discriminatory, or how about something on the lines of like £100 fine, a £200 fine, a 6-game ban, a 10-match ban? Now, I believe when these punishments are harsh, it would definitely deter people. It will let them think twice before they do some sort of these silly things, day in, day out. But
do you think the fine should be given to the player or the club?
Both. The player represents the club. So if you are not controlling your player, then whatever the player brings to the club is yours as well. If the player scores a goal, it's for the club, isn't it? If he scores a goal and wins a championship for you, it's for the club, isn't it? So if he goes and does something bad, you can't say, well, then I just disassociate myself from them. No, you have a responsibility as a club to educate your players. It's not only about just going out there and playing football.
Why is there still a big discrepancy in terms of what the elite players can get away with from what the grassroots players can get away with?
Well, grassroots, isn't it? Like, it's the bottom of the barrel. People don't really care about what happens in grassroots football. The elite is being there's so much money in the elite game right now that all eyes are on TV every single day of the week. There's a game going on. Now, if if you take Mitchell Viz's case for example, if he's given a 10-match ban, yeah, and the club is fined for not controlling the player and so on and so forth, look at the message that's going to send out to um, to everywhere else in the world. People are going to sit up and watch. People are going to sit up and listen, and it's going to filter all the way down to grassroots. However, grassroots, there's a lot of volunteering roles, for example, on disciplinary panels, on appointment systems here and there. There's not a lot of money in grassroots to make it as effective as we want it to be. Slowly we're getting there, but I would say that's the discrepancy. The importance of the game at the elite level and the lads going out on a Saturday to play football is very, very different. I'll be a liar to say that I don't hear what parents say on the sidelines or the coaches say on the sidelines as well. So basically, you're in the middle, all alone. If you're not unlucky to have assistant referees or liners, as you'd call them, you're all alone in the middle of the pitch. Now, I believe there are things that can be shown and taught referees to help de-escalate situations. Yes, it's all about we're talking about abuse, upon referees, abuse against referees. But how about referees also learning to be able to de-escalate situations? How about learning techniques? One, doing your job properly, talking to players, technical bench, talking to them in a respectful manner, being firm but assertive, so that they can respect you from the very beginning. If you turn up as a referee, if you turn up, I'm not saying it's an excuse to get abused, but if you turn up at 5 minutes to kick off, or you turn up late for a game, already your credibility starts going down. So turn up on time in the proper kit, look professional, talk to the players. They're also human beings. Talk to them in an intelligent manner, in a calm manner, but very assertive. Be respectful. And once you do these things, I think that already they'll start respecting you even before you blow the first whistle, and it will trickle down into sometimes the way that they react to you. You see me ref before, and you know that at several levels I talk to both teams in the middle of the pitch before I crack on, and that goes a long way to set my stall and let the players know that I expect absolute respect for them, and I'm going to give it to them. So that we don't go over that level. And most of the times, it's helped me. My years of refereeing, it's helped me. There's very few occasions that people have done what they're not supposed to do. But I believe learning and educating referees as well on some of these techniques will help them, manage the game effectively.
It's a double-edged sword. I see it, and again, we are very lucky to have you as a referee within the Vets game. But as you've said before, the shortage of referees, every single season, it's getting worse. Mm-hmm. And the referees that we have at this present moment in time, they're not good enough. They're not fit enough. Again, exactly how you've stated, they don't know even how to talk to players of a certain age as well, and literally that is a huge problem that I see. Do you think referees should, I know referees are assessed, but do you think that the assessment level is rigorous enough to actually educate referees that have been in the game for 4 or 5 years?
I don't think so. I don't think it's rigorous enough at all. But going back to your earlier point, some may not be up to par, but most of them are decent referees. So I mean, I think it would be an unfair point to say the referees are not good enough. Um, some may not be up to par, but a lot of them are, really good and come out and do an honest job. Um, but to talk of the nature of the training, back in the day, you had referees who were lawyers, policemen, firemen, strong, influential figures in society who picked up refereeing. So you sat, I think it was like 7 weeks training before you could become a referee. You sat in the classroom for 7 weeks. Now, unfortunately, times have changed, and um, within a weekend or 2 weekends, you can become a referee, provided you've sat, the course, pass your test um, according to the laws of the game. I think the training method is such that it's taught by the FAs that a lot of people know about football. A lot of people know about football already, so they don't need to go and sit in the classroom for so long before you can become a referee. If you can read the laws of the game and you can pass the exams, you already have football knowledge. So it becomes easier to become a referee. I get that. However, um, if we were to use the rigorous nature, we had in the past, I don't think you have any referees at all. I don't think you have any referees at all, because the abuse has. I think it fizzles down from society, I should say, because now look at our kids. Look at the way our kids talk to the adults, for example. Look at the general society. Look at the way people talk to each other. It's always, not everybody, but the language, the nature, swearing, the slightest thing, it, it's become a part and parcel of this sort of culture. So it's not, people take it like, oh, it's the norm. Me coming from a different background, for example, I I will not tolerate a certain sort of language. You see what I'm saying? So it's different. Now, if you say you're going to make sure that it's rigorous, how many people you think we're going to sit in the classroom now for 6 weeks to become a referee and pay what, £35 per game? Nobody's got time for that. So you 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 train them the best way possible that you can at the moment and let them pass through. As you go down the ladder, it becomes more difficult because your assessments in terms of your application of the laws of the game, um, your fitness levels, your positionings, your credibility, you get assessed. It becomes more difficult as you go up the ladder. So um, I'm a level 5 senior county referee right now. If I want to go to 4, I'll be marked on all the above plus club marks, for example. I have to do a fitness test and all that. You understand? So if you weigh, and the fitness test, I think you need to go around, for example, a normal full size track and field. I think you need to be running for 12 minutes non-stop at a certain pace. Do you understand? And how many people over, say, 220 pounds, 16 stone, 18 stone, 20 stone, how many people can do that? You understand? So level 4 going is more difficult because then you're going to the combined counties, you're going to level 3, you're going to the National League, and so on and so forth. So they expect a certain level of fitness, they expect a certain level of knowledge in the laws of the game, and they expect a certain level of respect, how you conduct yourself. So it gets more difficult as you go, higher up the ladder.
Educating the general public.
Absolutely. I think, my previous point sort of comes in tandem with this one as well, because I love football, I love refereeing, and I actually enjoy adult football more than under 10s and 11s, all the way to under 16. Someone will ask why, because that should be the easiest games, isn't it? It's absolutely not. If the children are allowed to play football, lovely stuff. But under 14s all the way down, you have the parents on the side, and the parents can be the worst. You have to shut off listening to them, because I mean, some of them are decent, some of them are nice, to tell you you're doing a really good job and they understand. But unfortunately, in the youth football that I've done, I get a lot more abuse from them, on screaming and shouting on the sides, screaming obscenities from the sidelines, as opposed to the open age football, adult football. And I'm thinking, if I know the FA is doing bits and pieces of programs on, educating the general public, educating parents, educating people on respect for match officials. Because if you don't have match officials, the game doesn't go on. I don't care how you put it. If you don't have, if we are not in the middle, the game doesn't go on. And it's not like we get paid, huge sums of money. I'm gonna be running for an hour and a half and get paid like £35 a game, for example. No, I'd rather stay home. Most of us, it's a hobby. It's an absolute hobby, not our source of income. We do it because we love it. So I believe that if there's a bit more campaigns geared towards the general public, sometimes just play a scene, a video clip of abuse that uh, a referee has received, and let them think that, what if it was your son in the middle? What if it was your daughter in the middle getting this abuse? Would you like it? So they can see themselves in the shoes of the abuser and the abusee. And I think eventually it will help them understand, what it takes to be a referee and why they should not be abused. But everything has to come from the top, for the Premier League all the way down. Because if like I said earlier on, if the kids see this thing on TV, like, Mitrovic and them not allowed to do. I mean, Mitrovic will be a big issue because it's been clearly caught on camera. But sometimes we are not done. We can see the lips of the players. We can see how they insult the referees, and nothing is done about it. Nothing is done about it. The choice words that they use, nothing is being done about it. So, what stops the 10-year-old from doing the same thing to a referee on a Sunday? By the way, if you tell me that on a Sunday you're having an early shower, no doubt about it, I'm sending you off straight away.
Do you think referees should be wearing GoPros?
It's an incentive that's coming. It's a campaign that's coming up pretty shortly. They've been talking about it, for a while, and they're planning to use it next season. They've talked about it for a long time, and they're planning to use it next season. I would love that. I would absolutely love that, because it gives a more intimate picture of what is actually happening. If you've got the sound, everything on it, whatever a player says to you, it's recorded. And especially at disciplinary hearings, there's evidence. There's not hearsay anymore. There's evidence. Now, it will also, for a learning perspective, it will also help referees understand how the players see them, understand their positioning, their movement, everything. We have the technology. We just have to use it. I would love that.
And what would you like to say to anyone that's looking to take up refereeing, and also any parents, supporters, or players that sometimes lose it at match officials?
Well, I'm a player, and then I'm a referee, so I can understand the passion and the frustration at times. Start from the players. I'd say it's not that deep. It's not that deep. We want to come out on a Saturday and enjoy football. If the referee makes a mistake, he's a human being. He's a human being. Let it go. Carry on enjoying the beautiful game. Let it go. My referee counterparts, I'll say, continue doing what you're doing. Make sure you turn up on time. Make sure you're properly dressed. Enough time to check the nets, talk to both sets of teams, look very professional, talk to them in a respectful manner, in a calm manner, but be very firm and assertive when you need to be. Because your respect doesn't start from when you blow the whistle, it starts from when you enter the stadium, when you enter that Hackney Marshes, when you start shaking the hands of the both sets of teams and talking to the captains. That's where it starts from. You set your stall, and the respect starts from there, and they know you. With the parents, let the children play football. Let the children play football. Screaming and shouting and swearing, you pass your energy on to them, and they learn. They learn from you guys on the sidelines. So just let them play football. We're all human beings. We make mistakes. If both sets of teams didn't make mistakes, you wouldn't need us in the middle. You just turn up with 11 men apiece and just play, because then you don't need us in the middle. But with anybody who wants to pick up refereeing, it's not all doom and gloom. I would never hang up my whistle until I'm physically unable to. It's rewarding. I am able to officiate a game for under 9s, under 10s, who aspire to be professional footballers, who aspire to be professional athletes, and seeing, some under 10s, under 12s, they've never had a game with a proper referee in the middle. When they see me, my full kit, they feel that they have a chance to be somebody in future. Not me per se, but to be in the league, to be in the big leagues, because that image, they're seeing the image. It's a full package. They're seeing it. So you never know how it's going to help these children, in the committee, bringing it up and looking forward to being, who they want to be, and enjoying what they want to do. So we ask to everybody, who is of that age, young, old. The course doesn't last long, and you can be a referee.